Shalom is real quick video giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakakadash Barakatah Yahweh Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle, elder bishops, great millstone. Most salutation to the brothers teaching the word for the hopeful elect, soon to be the elect most high will. To the hopeful extended elect shalom blessings. We continue to exalt those names. Yahweh, he is the be. His son Yahweh Shai, he is the deliverer, the savior. We always say in the holy name of the Holy Spirit. Um, so all the world was destined to take the MOTB, to have the MOTB, because with IUIC and the things concerning them, with them saying the mark is sin. When the lights go out, when there's no internet, when there's no what do you call it, no power. There's no cell phone because your cell phones are eventually going to go out. There's no everything. Nothing works. Nothing in the electronics work. You can't get on the internet. For one, if you're in the wilderness, let's say you go to the wilderness and you say, well, we're living off the grid. We're in the wilderness. We're survival, going back to the survival of the fittest. You gotta, know how to make fire. Know how or what to eat lawfully. How you gonna know whether it's Friday or Saturday? How you gonna know it's Friday sundown to Saturday sundown? There's no more, because that people can get into working so hard. They be like, damn, it's today, Friday or Saturday, and then they gotta go check on their cell phone. They gotta go check on their, you know, and we know that Friday and Saturday is not biblical, but how they gonna keep it? And they don't even know. Let's say you're in the wilderness for like, there's no power for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. It's an ongoing thing. This is the basically Jacob's trouble. This is basically, and it don't really have to be Jacob's trouble for the lights go out, the grid to go out. Well, that's a part of it, great part of it, but it has been blackouts before. Um, but with nothing coming back on, how you gonna know whether it's Friday or Saturday? I mean, that is Friday or Saturdays. Friday and Saturday got to do with time and dated calendar dates. Um, Also, how you gonna keep the tides? There's not gonna be any money out there. And then going into this digital thing, and it's not gonna happen just one day. This is a process of things. Like the world's still gonna be operating. Like things are still gonna be going on. You know, uh, and then when you come across people like they had in the book of Eli, he came across other people that were surviving like he was. Eli himself, played by Denzel in that movie, they did do trades and they, talked and on all that. Well, you go into a house and somebody has a daughter, you talk to the family and they say, hey, these are pretty good people, and they're Christians and they're nice people, so-called Christians, they're nice people, but their daughter is on their cycle and she's eating at the table. Well, you're in the house of sin. Uh, and it's a lot more. And it's 613 laws. This is just a few that I'm mentioning. And then you might go and say something similar to GMS or try to pull a GMS and say, well, you know what? This is when we go by the new moon. This is what it's for. But Most High covered us all those times because we wasn't in time of Jacob's trouble, or there was no trouble coming up on us. But now there is. We can, you know. I don't know. I don't. But it's gonna. The mind trips out on a lot of things. On at certain times. That's why I said, who can know it is deceitfully wicked. The heart, the mind. You can see this is a commandment. Tithing, giving 1/10 of income or produce is a commandment in the Bible, but its application depends on it. So let's get another one right quick. I'm just saying it's going to be harder to keep the commandments in that day. So we know that's why we say keep the commandments to the best of our ability. But we know that there are sins into death. Now we know that in this time, even Yahweh Shai said, you heard about adulterers back then. Well, any man that look upon a woman that lusted in the heart has committed adultery in his heart already. So if you look upon another woman and she has a man, you look upon her, but she's out there, trying to gather some things out the house, and you're just passing by, because everybody's everywhere, and then she get to talking and she's taking a liking to you, because that's what they're gonna do too. They're gonna use a lot of these women to lure people in, and then she might lie to you and say she doesn't have a husband. She might go as far as having sex with you, or be aroused, or aroused by you, or vice versa, and you've already looked upon her. She's like seductive, and her breast is showing, you know, and you're talking, have a conversation, and it's sort of flirtatious, because you might call it a friendly conversation, but you're actually talking to another man's wife, and and you're looking up on her lust, you know, um, you committed adultery already in your heart, and that's supposed to be a sin into death, committing adultery. So we know that we're saved by grace. We know that the Most High have mercy, and we know why, because our righteousness is filthy rags, because we are fallen short of the glory of the Most High. So Yahweh Shai is a mediator, a reconciliation to have us approved by the Most High, even if we come short. So if you feel like you're keeping the laws perfectly, which is impossible, you're surely not going to keep the laws when Jacob's trouble come, when all this stuff comes about, blackouts, rising up of the people, civil unrest. Uh, see, I had another one. I don't even think they're keeping the land Sabbath. I mean, they might not have land, of course. So they might say, well, we don't need to keep it. But I mean, you have a landlord, so technically, according to America, you have land. Uh, Day of Atonement, First Fruits, Feast of it, Sabbath, of course, Passover. Um, says do not steal. So you can't steal. You see some bread, and and it's somebody's. It's packaged up like somebody's gonna come back to it, and you're along the road, and you're basically almost point of starvation, or you're just hungry as hell. You can't steal that, or that somebody come and ask you some questions about where you going, who you got with you, are you American citizen, do you have this C hip? If you don't, I'm gonna blow your head off, and I'll blow all your family's head off. And then you like, well, yeah, say you got it right now, and I'll let you go. Well, yeah, I have it. Get out of here. But you just lied, and you lied about something serious that which you're not supposed to take or even have any connection with. Um, So can you lie? If you're a perfect law keeper, can you lie? You know, can you steal? Love your neighbor as thyself. We know what that means, really. Talking about the children of Israel is really talking about the elect. Uh, but all this kumbaya they're doing and coming together and with other religious, so to speak, leaders, um, spokesmen. I don't know what you would call them. In the time of trouble, uh, you know, those people best believe they're not gonna be all gathered in a secret place or wilderness sort of place, and then coming together to fight this great oppression of the enemy because they coming down with great wrath, like it says in the scriptures, and they're looking for people they're looking for sinners so they can get rid of them, uh, according to them, because somebody has to do the bidding of taking out those that don't comply with the MOTB, um, the MOTB. If it's sin, it has to be. Somebody has to implement that for you to know that it is that, and to so much as to be the ones that do something about your decision whether to get it or not. It says, moral and ethical laws, often called the holiness code. High priest is the holy to wilderness. Um, Mildew in houses. So if you have a sandwich, if you see a perfectly wrapped sandwich in the time of famine and all that, and it's in a mildew in the house, you know, look, the required washing and offerings, childbirth purification. You got a lot of women that are going to be having babies in the time. Like I said, it's not just one day, and then okay, all that stuff happens, MOTB, and within 24 hours, and next thing you know, we're in the kingdom. No, this is an ongoing thing for how long Most High wants it to go, but it's going to be a process. So you're going to have women that's going to have babies in that time of trouble. Are they going to be able to keep the purification? Do not eat blood. You might be starving, and it might be, um, and it might be lawful meat, but it's not really well cooked to where it's blood still coming out of it, and you can't eat that. And we don't eat that anyway. We don't eat that now. Anything of the blood we don't eat now. We keep the laws to the best of our ability. But I'm saying, be careful with how you say things about, like you got it all figured out, like you know what your mind is gonna do in those times. That's why we say Most High will. No reptiles. You might see a damn squirrel or something, and you say, well, shit, this is. You might be in the South. Well, Jake eats in the South, so ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm not doing the worst thing in the world. Most High could wink at me on this. You don't know, cause you the one that say you keep the laws perfectly, so you're gonna be held to that stature. What did it say? Him that keep all the laws, paraphrasing perfectly, say they do and break one is guilty of them all. no shellfish. You can't try to trick your brain and have somebody find fish for you, and they say, well, I could put it over fire, I could start a fire, and is it lawful fish? Well, I don't know. And then you just go ahead and make it lawful because you're hungry. Certain birds forbidden. You know, you see a dead eagle, and you see a you invited to somebody see you and like, hey, I know you're an Israelite and we love you, and but I have a cooked bird. Well, what kind of bird is eagle? That well, that's unlawful. Well, it's perfectly cooked, so I'll leave it with you in case you want to eat it. You get hungry. You can't say what you're gonna do now. You just say Most High will. We ain't gonna be doing that BS. We're not gonna be eating swine in that day. You know, and even now, keeping the laws to the best of our ability. But it's gonna be harder. It's gonna get harder. Priest must Priests must avoid ritual impurity, restrictions on whom priests may marry, physical defects disqualify priests from altar service. Priests must not consume sacred food while unclean. It's impossible to follow all these laws. And like I said, you know, you can easily forget what day it is, you know, day by day. I mean, they're so closely knit together. Yesterday becomes today, today becomes um, tomorrow, or tomorrow becomes today, today becomes yesterday. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Uh, you got people that kind of it slips their mind, or kind of what is it? Is it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Yeah. So with no power working, where you're able to go back and see what day it is, how you gonna keep the Sabbath, man? That's just one thing that stuck out of things I've mentioned right here. Um, so you know, it's easy to say things now. It's easy to say that you follow the laws now, but when everything breaks down and everything's chaotic, everything is dark, black, there's no power, people are tripping out, women are screaming, beasts are ravaging, ra- what is that called? Raging out there, change their places, you know. Um, it may be winter and super cold, you know. You can't even start a fire on the Sabbath. So if it's one day, if it's one day it's Friday, Saturday, and you kind of try to still keep up with the days, but you're gonna lose days if you're out in the wilderness for uh, you know a month. You're gonna lose those days, man. Meaning that you're not gonna could tell what day is what day. Uh, but if it's a cold winter and your Sabbath is on those days, you can't start a fire. Even if you got the material by your side, uh, it's all kind of things that you're not going to be able to do um, on a perfect law level during the time of Jacob's trouble. So I wouldn't keep boasting with that perspective, man. I think that's it. I didn't want to make this too long, but yeah. Hopefully it was edifying. We're gonna do more videos, different type of angles that you can approach this subject with, like the apostle, elders, bishops been doing. So till next time, Shalom. Hope it is edifying.